Connecting the dots, reliving Northwoods history with Carrie Bladorn. Sitting quietly on the shores of West Bay Lake near Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin, is a property that has intrigued people for decades. It is said to be the most haunted location in the Northwoods, Summer Wind. In the early 1900s, as the Wisconsin logging boom came to an end, many people that came to work in the woods transitioned into the budding resort industry. Such a man was John Frank, who came to the Northwoods to work as a blacksmith and decided to stay. Homesteading on the Cisco chain in Vilas County, he built West Bay Lake Resort, a fishing lodge and several cabins. Around 1916, the property caught the eye of Robert Pattinson Lamont. Originally from Detroit, Lamont worked as an engineer at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, then as a steel industry executive, and was later the Secretary of Commerce during the Hoover administration. He purchased the resort property and hired architectural firm Talmadge & Watson of Chicago to design a summer retreat for the Lamont family. The end result was Lilac Hills, as the Lamonts called it, an imposing two-story, 20-room mansion with a large stone terrace overlooking West Bay Lake. Completed in 1918 at a cost of $125,000, almost $3 million today, the summer home was filled with the trappings of the well-to-do, including antiques the Lamonts had collected during their travels. It was an idyllic Northwoods place to escape the stress, hustle, and bustle of Lamont's work in Washington. Or was it? The first whisperings of strange occurrences were noted by the Lamont's maids. They complained to Mrs. Lamont about bizarre noises and smells in the mansion, that the property felt haunted. The Lamonts dismissed the reports for nearly 15 years, until one evening that would change their minds. Legends say that the Lamonts were sitting down for dinner when a ghostly figure interrupted their meal. A tall black specter emerged from the basement door, causing Mrs. Lamont to dart behind her husband. So startled was Mr. Lamont that he produced his pistol and fired 2 shots at the ghost, the bullet holes of which were left in the door. The couple decided then and there to leave the property and never to return. Despite never going back to the mansion, Robert Lamont refused to sell it, as it sat empty and unused until his passing in 1948. The West Bay Lake Mansion was then purchased by the Kiefers. Mr. Kiefer unexpectedly passed away of a heart attack within months of acquiring the property, leaving sole ownership to his wife, Lillian. Little by little, Mrs. Kiefer sold parcels of the estate until just the mansion remained. Although no specific stories of hauntings were passed down from the Kiefers' time, people said that Lillian wouldn't enter the home, giving prospective buyers an uneasy feeling about the place. Time and again, those that tried buying the mansion would have financial troubles that put the property back in Mrs. Kiefer's hands. Finally, after many years of the mansion sitting lonely and deteriorating, the house was bought by Arnold and Ginger Hinshaw. As the eager young couple worked on fixing the home up, they attempted to hire contractors that refused to take on the job. After discovering the original blueprints in the house, they became obsessed with returning the mansion to its glory days. What followed was the Northwoods' very own Amityville horror, as the Hinshaws were haunted by something at the property. Whispering voices, strange presences, lights turning on and off at random, and rooms in the home would seemingly change size and dimension. The Hinshaws saw ghosts moving past the home's dining room French doors, and their daughter experienced visits from a person whom the others could not see. One of the most unsettling reports during the Hinshaws' ownership was the discovery of a large space in the home, hidden behind a closet drawer. Inside the space, both Arnold and their daughter, who was sent in to investigate, clambered back out screaming, having said to have found a corpse stuck in the wall. Strangely, the incident was never reported to authorities, but the story certainly adds to the mystery surrounding the property. Over the course of 6 months, something about the house took hold of Arnold as he slid into a state of mental illness, staying up at all hours of the night playing his organ, becoming insane. Ginger herself attempted to take her own life due to the stress of living in the mansion. Eventually, the couple fled the house, just like the Lamonts. The property was then bought by Ginger's father, Ray Bober, who had high hopes of rehabilitating the house into a bed and breakfast. He too soon began having strange experiences at the property. Ray was convinced that the mansion was being haunted by early North American explorer Jonathan Carver, whose ghost he had connected with during his time at the mansion. Ray went on to write a book in the 1970s about his family's time at the property called The Carver Effect, a paranormal experience, a classic read. It was Ray who began referring to the mansion as Summer Wind, a name that has stuck all these years later. After Ray Bober sold the property, the abandoned mansion fell victim to the harsh Northwoods weather as it continued to deteriorate. Legends surrounding Summer Wind attracted curious people, paranormal investigators, and thrill seekers, many of whom claimed their own strange experiences. Life magazine wrote an article about Haunted Summer Wind in 1980, bringing the property national attention. Something about an old abandoned mansion stirs the human psyche. On June 16, 1988, a storm passed through the Land O'Lakes area, and a lightning strike started the old home on fire. Rumors of arson swirled through the Northwoods at the time, but whether it was the hand of God or man, the neglected and purportedly haunted mansion burned to the ground. These stories only scratch the surface of the mystery and paranormal activity surrounding Summer Wind. Much has been written and produced over the years detailing the property's hauntings. Wherever the truth lies, one thing is for sure: Summer Wind seems to have had a powerful effect on those that have owned it, and those that have visited even after its destruction. The life of Summer Wind blurs the line between history and mystery. Today, the foundation, its towering brick chimneys, and large stone terrace are all that remain of this once illustrious mansion. The ruins of Summer Wind on the shores of West Bay Lake hold a special, if not spooky, place in Northwoods history. I'm Kerry Bladorn, and this is Connecting the Dots on Newswatch 12. Connecting the Dots, reliving Northwoods history with Kerry Bladorn. Thank you for watching Connecting the Dots on WJFW. If you have any Northwoods history you'd like to see covered on this program, feel free to send me a message on my Facebook page, Kerry Bladorn, Northwoods Historian, or email me at northwoodshistorian@gmail.com.
Good morning and welcome back to Newswatch 12 today. We're joined by some very special guests. Yes. We've got Nick Van Zyl, couch correspondent and reporter. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Of course, I love it.
Yeah, very happy to have him. And Conrad Sapinski, of course, as well.
And Michael right here.
Yeah, Jackie is off today, but we got some strong fill-ins here this morning. So let's have a great What's Trending, because a new version of Pictionary is coming out, guys.
Ooh. Pictionary.
Big news. And the version has some high-tech twists to it. The maker of Pictionary, Mattel, announced on Tuesday that artificial intelligence will become a player in the game. The usual way the game is played, someone draws a card and has to sketch the word on that card. If the player's team guesses the word, they roll a die and they move around the Pictionary board. But in this new version, players will still sketch the words from a card, but it is an AI that makes the guess. Players can earn points by guessing whether an AI will figure out the answer. People can start pre-ordering the game on Wednesday, and the new game is expected to hit store shelves on Monday.
That's cool. That's very fun. Have you guys ever played?
You know, I wasn't a big Pictionary. I like the old classics of Sorry and Trouble. I mean, those were mainstays around the table.
Yeah, see, I've done some Pictionary, but I don't know if anyone knows about my drawing ability or lack thereof. It isn't good. It's like anytime I have, it's like the pressure comes on, and then it's just like, oh gosh, no. And it's like stick figures and like little boxes. It's not good.
You're pretty good in Uno though. You're not bad at
Uno. I can hold my own.
Handle Uno.
But oh my goodness, Pictionary. The AI though, I like that they're guessing, but also I feel like kind of the fun of it is just randomly spouting out answers.
Yeah, that's probably the fun part.
Does this mean that you can play against AI yourself, or do you need another play?
Oh goodness, I think there's lots to unpack with this new Pictionary coming up, but we have things to discuss this morning,
Yes.
gentlemen.
Football season is back, guys. Of course, we
Absolutely.
all know this. We're all in fantasy football. But now, former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick has asked the New York Jets to consider signing him. Can you guys believe that? To the team's practice squad. The letter Kaepernick, that's what it is.
There you go.
Remember hearing that name. Sent last week to the team's general manager, comes after Jets starting quarterback Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon just 4 plays into the first game of the season. In the letter shared on Instagram Tuesday, Kaepernick wrote, "I would be honored and extremely grateful for the opportunity to come in and lead the practice squad." Kaepernick stressed that he has worked hard to keep himself in top physique shape and would offer the Jets a risk-free contingency plan. The 34-year-old drew controversy for kneeling, if you guys remember that, during the national anthem to protest racial injustices and police brutality in the U.S. He has not been involved in an NFL game in more than 6 years. Oof. Right now, it's unclear if the team has responded to Kaepernick's request. Wow, 6 years has not played.
Yikes.
That's been a while. I feel like it wasn't that long.
You know, I don't know. I think that's a long time to be out of football.
Exactly.
Overall. Like, he wasn't even playing in any of the other leagues, the
I know.
Canadian Football League or anything.
No, he was definitely, and it's been 6 years. He was fine. He brought him to a couple championships, but there was a lot of talent around him when he was in San Francisco.
There was.
So, I don't know, coming in 6 years later, there's a lot of controversy around him as well, so it might bring a lot more heat than the team really needs right now. They just need a non-problematic quarterback to help them out, because Zach Wilson, let's be honest, their backup to Rodgers is not really doing it.
He
right?
did win, though.
You
He
know-
did win that first game.
Yeah, and then he fell apart the other two.
Did he?
Tom Brady is
I
still
haven't
out there.
Tom Brady is still out there, and there's always...
He is.
And if we're going to bring someone out of retirement, it ought to be Brady, or there's always
Don't say
Andrew
it.
Luck.
Whoa, what about Brett Favre?
Ah, he said it.
Brett Favre.
He said it.
You got the purple shirt on, got to represent the Vikings.
Oh, ouch.
Boy, that's a tough look, Conrad.
Hey, I know my baseball.
Yes.
No, just
Unfortunately,
kidding, guys.
with the Yankees fan, I don't know.
And the
being
Red
a Red
Sox?
Sox fan, I can't really. I'm sitting pretty close.
yeah, no one's holding us back, so.
No, there's just a lonely brewer over here.
Yes.
But I think Nick's got some jokes for us, don't you?
So actually, guys, why did the chicken cross the road?
That's a great question.
Well, maybe to run from the police. This body cam video from Jonesboro, Arkansas, an hour from Memphis, shows an officer, Nathan Swindle, chasing down a chicken after a resident complained about the bird.
They complained about the bird.
They complained
Goodness
about
gracious.
it. So he's a new academy grad, so that's with his training officer with him. The police department said the officers returned the chicken to its home safely. On the video, Swindle jokes this was his first foot chase, or is it a claw chase?
Oh my gosh. Those are some great pictures. Look at him. He's got some speed there. He's
He
really
does.
reaching for the
Speed
chicken.
racer.
I mean,
Oh, there he is. Look at those guys.
that just.
It's one happy chicken.
They look like they're having a great time out there. I'd be concerned it's scratching me and stuff. They got claws and all that.
They do?
Yeah.
I'm speechless. I cannot imagine trying to chase down your chicken on your first, foot chase. Hey, get out of the car, boys. We got to get this chicken.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It kind of reminds me of like our parking lot, because sometimes chickens just randomly wander through.
They
no
do. It's
joke
so
at our
random,
station.
yeah.
And like we just have like, oh no, some chickens loose in the parking lot again.
Yeah, we came in a couple weeks ago, and one of our reporters, Austin, comes in and he goes, "Did someone bring their chickens to work today?" Like, no, that's a normal occurrence here.
Yeah, it's so funny because people that used to live in the city and they move out here, they see random chickens walking around. They're like, what is this? Like, never even seen one in person, mind you, just walking around in town. So
It happens.
very
Honestly,
different.
I think we ought to call some of your sheriff friends and get them to come chase some chickens in the parking lot. That'd be hilarious.
We'll get the army sergeants flying down with the Chinooks. Like, where are they at? Where are they
Let's only if we can put some Benny Hill music behind it.
Oh my goodness.
It's a great idea. Great
Film
idea.
that, make our own story right there.
It would be pretty funny.
And a cherry on top would be some good weather, guys.
Oh
Definitely
my goodness.
some
That
good
would be some
weather.
great. It's good chicken chasing weather, isn't it today,
Yes,
Conrad?
good chicken chasing weather. I know you're just about starting work. Get ready, Nick. It is going to be hot.
So I've got to go to Medford, and
Yes.
how's my drive looking this morning?
A little bit of rain, but very, very scattered. We're not looking at anything long lasting. If it will rain, maybe 5 minutes at max, and then it'll stop raining.